like real casual or like business casual?
As casual as you want it. Just make it.
Are you happy with this?
Yeah. Are you?
Yeah, yeah.
Comfortable? This is. It'd be a good chance to sit down and have a chat about everything that you went through. And
No, I'm. Yeah, thanks again for like doing this. Like this is actually good for me to decompress because I haven't had many conversations about it.
Even
properly.
Like Noah, who ran the one of our friends who ran the Barley Hope. I remember talking to him after he did the Barley Hope.
Noah last night.
Yeah. So he ran the Barley Hope, the one that Taz did as well.
Yeah, of course.
And he come second. Yeah. And he did really well. And for age, I remember ages after it. I'm sure he's happy for me to say this. He's like, I never actually recapped everything I went through. Like it kind of just turned into a blur, and then not forgot about it, but just never got to I don't know, embrace what happened.
Yeah.
Because he did really well in that, and the only reason he broke the previous record, the only reason he didn't win is because Meraki, one of the other guys, was just quicker than him. There just happened to be a guy that was 3 minutes quicker than him on the day. Over it's not much 80 over 80 Ks through the night. Yeah. Oh, bugger all.
That's nothing. Yeah. That's less than a K.
And then they beat the others by 20 minutes. So yeah, I thought it's very important, especially after you go something like that, to sit back and actually acknowledge what you've done, and you can go through the feelings of it as well.
Yeah, I'm with that.
So this is the first thing I've ever done. I don't think for a podcast type thing.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, it should be good. I don't know if we're gonna have a name for it or anything, but
yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll explain sort of what you have done, what we're here sitting down for, and that we're at Landy Field now. It's an athletics track in Geelong, and that's because this is where it all went down. And which was you running 200 Ks around the track, 500 laps for the Butterfly Foundation, and 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And yeah, I got to see what you went through during the day, but also didn't get to see what you went through the night.
Probably for the best, mate.
Yeah. No, those that don't know, you started at 8 p.m.
Yeah, it was actually 8:30, so it was going to be 8, but then I had in my head, this is really optimistic of me. I thought there was a chance I might break the Aussie record and finish in 16 hours or so. Yeah. And so, because there was a community run starting the next day at 12, I didn't want to be finished before that was going to start.
Yeah.
So they told me you have to still be here when we come.
Yeah, and
so
community run was they're putting on an event for you so that everyone can finish the run with you.
Yeah.
And be able to celebrate, which was at midday.
Yeah. No, I was super lucky. LSKD were great, and they supported me, and all the people came down. But yeah, because they had 100 people signed up for this thing, Brady. It was I can't not be there for that.
Yeah, 100%. Imagine if you finished at 11:30 and then 100 people rock up.
Oh yeah.
And you're it's actually done.
Yeah.
Would you have kept running laps?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Nah.
I don't.
I can tell you right now, I don't think you would have either after I've seen what you went through.
Definitely
not. Yeah, it was crazy. So you started 8:30 p.m. We went out for breakfast on the Saturday. And mind you, we've known each other for a month? Or we both raced in Japan, and then that's we both raced in Japan in February.
Yep.
But different races. But before that, it was maybe a couple weeks. And as we were just discussing before, we met in Ballarat last year. But yeah, just because you're so much higher up in the world than me, you just didn't remember
Oh, it was a very brief encounter.
Yeah, it was. But we had a phone call.
Yeah.
And then, you were pacing sub 3 at Ballarat, and I was trying to run sub 3. but I end up flogging you by like 3.5 minutes.
Didn't even need to run with me for a second during that run, mate. So you did well.
We met at Ballarat, and then early this year, re-encountered and sort of collided in the running world a little bit. There's been a big inspiration of mine to be able to look up and see the things that you have done. So what are your PBs? Because like I know that's what people are genuinely interested in, including myself, because you just ran a PB at Osaka in Japan in February. What did you run there?
Thanks, mate. 2:22:08. So just on the wrong side of the minute. Everyone wants to, the ideal world is you run 2:21:59.
Yeah.
Because you're not telling people the seconds. You're only telling them the minute. So you're saying 2:21, but because it was 8 seconds over, I have to be the 2:22 guy for until the next one, hopefully.
That's funny. I was having this conversation with Papps today while we're running, and because I was just rehashing the Kyoto Marathon with him and like how we went through it and how in the last like few Ks there's a big hill, and then after that it was just like do or die, like give it everything you've got. And I said to him, I'm glad I gave it everything I got in those last few Ks because I ran a 2:42:59.
Oh, that's crazy.
So the official time, I was like, people come up to me and they say like, congrats on the 2:42. And I'm like, well, one more second, then it would be a 2:43.
Yeah.
Obviously, like your watch time is so much different, and that's kind of what other people see when you post online because no one's looking up your official time.
No.
With the people that I don't know, people see your Strava and they're like, oh, well, you ran a 2:42 because obviously my Strava looks different. Where official time is obviously always longer, and that's what you do go off. But secretly, I think I'm a 2:42 guy instead of a 2:43 because of 1 second.
Yeah, but just for now, though, I mean, if it was the last marathon you're ever going to run, or you thought it was going to be your fastest, that's when you really want to be on that right side of the minute.
Yeah.
But like we both got plans to run faster, as you know, mate. So it doesn't really matter what time we run now, as long as we're improving and
100%. And I think that's like prevalent with what's going to come this year. Do you think like the goal? What's your next full marathon this year?
So I got a couple of pacing gigs, 3 hours with you, obviously at Ballarat. But then I'll pace Sydney Marathon 3-hour group, and then the big one though, the next opportunity to race a marathon for me is Berlin in September.
Oh yeah. What kind of block were you putting before that?
Big, like I'll pretty much, I'll train as hard as I ever have. I'd like to do multiple 200k weeks in the lead up. Because before Osaka, I did about a month, averaging 200k a week, and that got that got me in pretty good shape. Yeah. So that gives me confidence that I can handle that sort of mileage. And then for Berlin, I'm not flying all the way to Germany to not run as fast as I possibly can.
Yeah, and first major as well.
First major, so it'll be off its head. I think they get like 50,000 or something.
That's crazy.
Which is outrageous.
Yeah. But do you have like a distinctive like 16-week block or 20-week block you do, or are you just like right now you're like, my mind's on that goal and I'm training every day for it?
It's always in the back of my mind because what I really want to do is run the fastest possible marathon I can. Yeah. But right now is speed focused, so getting on the track and just doing a bunch of shit that I don't really want to do, like running super fast and then having long break.
Yeah.
Whereas, people that gravitate towards a marathon don't generally like doing that stuff.
Yeah.
But then when it comes close to Berlin, maybe like 10 weeks out, I'll get real specific. I'll do a lot of like longer, harder stuff. I'll up the mileage, do as much as I can. And but right now it's like cross country season's about to start, so lock in for that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because the blocks that I've done like an 8-week block before, but that was just like stupid. Like you need a lot longer. And then I did a 16-week block, and that was my biggest block for Kyoto. And it kind of feels like after you achieve something like that, you take the foot off the brake a little bit, which you need to do. Like you need to ride a wave where you've worked hard and then you achieve something, and then you let the fitness drop a little bit, and then you ride the wave back up.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
don't know. Do you think you can consistently just hammer things you could go one event and then go straight away. You're like, all right, this is the next event. Similar type of event. Like maybe it's marathon, half marathon. But you just straight away, okay, I'm at my peak fitness. Now if I put in another 16-week block straight away off the back of it,
Yeah.
I'm just going to build on that fitness. Or are you thinking you let yourself drop a bit and rest, recover, and then go into it?
Well, it depends on what level you're at, because you can definitely back it up quicker, especially these days. You see people doing outrageous shit, just going from race to race to race.
Yeah.
But then once you get to a level, Brady, where it's like, oh, hang on, I just trained my ass off for 3 or 4 months for this one marathon.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not doing another one at least 16 weeks away.
Yeah.
But then the other thing as well you got to think about is it's not just you're training for the race that you do. So for you, it was Kyoto recently. And then, you do the race and then you have this detraining period. You also get fitter from the race as well.
Yeah, 100%.
So you've got that fitness in your system ready to kind of build for the next thing.
Yeah.
But you've also got to respect the race and you respect the training that you did for the race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember finishing my race and buggered. I felt aerobically good.
Yeah.
Legs buggered and looking at, because I'm a killer at looking at what the Garmin's telling me. I just need to put it away sometimes. But after the race, I was looking at my predicted marathon time for the race.
Mm.
And when I do that, it builds me confidence because it normally drops a lot in the lead up. The time comes in really quickly. And then after the race, it was 3 minutes quicker. That my marathon predicted time became 3 minutes quicker than the time I just ran.
Really?
The next day. So it's gone oh, you've got this fitness from the marathon. This is what we think you can actually do. Maybe on a flatter track or whatever.
Mm.
And I remember just thinking I could just go run a 2 and then I was oh, just relax. You need to appreciate what just happened. And I think if you are going back-to-back events, you're probably not getting the best out of your event either.
Nah. But then it's also, if you think long term and don't just think about the next race, that's when you'll really start to realize that hang on, there actually isn't that much on the line, and then you'll free yourself from the pressure of just I have to run a PB at this next race.
Yeah.
And then you just realize hang on, well, if I don't run a PB, I'll just use this as a stepping stone towards the next one.
Do you think about that a lot? Because I find that something I've been running for 2 years, but that's something that I personally battle with. Because when I sign up to something, there's two things that go through my mind. I'm am I just going to go enjoy this? I'm going to go give this everything I've got and run a PB. And sometimes I'm if I don't give it everything I've got, I've wasted it.
Yeah.
But then there's the other side of it, your peak endurance is 7-8 years away. Think of the bigger picture. If you don't run a PB here, you're literally building for 7 years where your PB might be 20 minutes quicker than what it is now.
Yeah.
Are you 100%. Thinking about that?
Definitely. More recently, I'm thinking about that. But it's also what you said about, so two things. You want to enjoy the race and you want to, get everything out of it, run a PB. You can definitely do both of those things. It's not you're going to suffer if you run as hard as you possibly can and run a PB.
Yeah.
Because that, some people get confused and think that's going to be so hard, I'm going to hate it. Whereas, as you know, if you put the work in, you get to race day and you're feeling amazing.
Yeah.
You're reaping the rewards of all the training you've done. But then, just zooming out and just thinking long term and just being patient.
It's hard because I find I put my value in myself as a person, not as a person, as a runner, like directly in like where I'm at right now and like where this race is going to put me. So I'll be like, my value is not value. I guess value is the right word. Is that I'm a 2:42 marathon runner, where that's all I cared about for like 16 weeks straight. And like I'm one that documents my stuff on social media, so I just blast it, which helps me train for it. Because I'm like, if I tell everyone I'm doing this,
Yeah,
like, I have to go and fucking do it. But yeah, the value of who I am as a runner just becomes like that one goal. And luckily, every time I've done that, I've hit the goal. But I don't know what would happen if I didn't have, like, what if I went out and said I'm going to do this for 16 weeks, and then you get to the day and you don't do it?
I think the thing is, like, the race and the time that you run in the race is not always a reflection of how fit you are.
Yeah.
Like, even if you think you have your best possible race, and you know you might have thought Kyoto went super well, you still could have run faster that day.
Yeah.
Like, if you really think about 42 k's is so far, there's little things with execution or just pushing earlier, harder, or like whatever that could have lifted you up on that day. So if you run a bad race and you don't run the time that you think you're capable of, like, it sucks, because maybe you put yourself out there, which is a great thing to do, but then you just got to think, well, hang on, just because the race didn't go well, it doesn't mean that I'm not improving. And then because in training, if you're trying to go for a PB, you're probably going to get some indications like that say, hang on, I'm working towards this, and maybe you're running sessions better than you ever have, and so you got to look at that as progress as well as the race.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't happen in that one, the next race is when you get the PB, because you've banked it, and you've just you've just built it up.
Yeah. I feel like if the race didn't go the way I'd want it, I'd almost be like on the phone that day looking to book a race within like the next 4 weeks.
That's good. That's like, it's good that you wouldn't be deterred, because some people would take it really hard.
I'd be pissed off. I'd be like, I know I can do it.
Oh,
I 100% would be competing in Ballarat if I didn't make my goal at Kyoto, I think.
Yeah.
But no, like, it's obviously worked out well, and like, couldn't be more grateful for the chance to pace at Ballarat, which will be sick. And 3 hours, such a cool time.
It would be awesome.
Yeah, we'll be able to do that, which will be so sick. Get a few more, like, meet a few more people around the field and that. And yeah, a time that like is almost like a milestone for every runner, I think.
100%.
Yeah.
And
you've done that time. You've paced that time at Ballarat and at Sydney.
Yeah.
And you're going to do it at Ballarat and at Sydney this year again.
Yeah, pretty lucky. Got the gig again. So
is that gonna be something that you want to sustain, keep doing? Do you think?
Yeah, I actually like the thought of being the 3-hour pacer at those events.
It has to be
for as long as I can.
It has to be the best time to pace.
100%. And we're really lucky. Like, we get a few benefits as pacers, and obviously, like, the main thing is you get to help so many runners achieve their goal. Which when you got people coming up to you after the race, thanking you for like helping them achieve a lifetime goal, like, you really can't beat that.
Yeah, 100%.
And you got people waiting for you that maybe ran off and left you at 30k, and they're waiting for you for 5 minutes because they just ran 2:55, and then they just like shake your hand, and you just like,
that's sick.
You're just so happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like Ballarat's such a great event, and Sydney's become a major now. It kind of makes me think, geez, I would love to race them, but as you know, mate, you just can't race every single race. Like, you went and did Kyoto, I did Osaka a week later, and the turnaround to Ballarat is just a little bit close.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be good to race them all.
It's always on your mind, isn't it? Like, every time, and then one of your mates might be racing it, and you're like, oh, I could race that. Like, like Papps, for example, who I ran with today. He's racing Ballarat, and me and him are very similar fitness levels. And I just thought, if it like we want to run a marathon together so bad, like an event, and I just thought like, oh man, if we both went out and ran PBs together at Ballarat, like it'd be so cool.
Yeah.
But you just can't run everything.
No, but that's why pacing's so good because we still get to be involved.
Yeah.
And we'll literally see our mates out on course.
Yeah.
Be able to cheer them on as they're running the other direction, and hopefully they all have a blinder.
Yeah.
And then we can celebrate afterwards.
Yeah, 100%. That'll be sick. I'm gonna check that this is still.
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. Your light on? Yeah, we're sweet. Yeah, I'm super keen for that. Anyway, we'll get into what we're actually here to talk about, which is your bloody far run. For the Butterfly Foundation, which is a foundation that you chose, which is close to your heart.
Yeah.
And we can get into that if you'd like to. If you don't want to speak about it, that's fine.
I can just briefly touch on it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, so I decided to raise funds for the Butterfly Foundation because they support Aussies that struggle with eating disorders and body image, and that's something that I've personally struggled with ever since I started running marathons, Brady, when I was 18.
Yeah.
And just at my lowest moments, just got into a pretty sort of like negative cycle of overeating, and then like binge eating, and then purging, and then just under fueling, and just really had a negative relationship with food in general because I understand that now that you just got to fuel your body. It's so important. But back then, I just had in my head, I've just got to be the skinniest, lightest runner that I can.
Yeah.
But that's just not how it works.
Yeah.
You just have to fuel your body, and was fortunate enough to do some work with like a sports psych, and he helped me reframe my relationship with food.
Yeah.
And just like sort of taught me to have a bit more self-compassion for myself because, inevitably there's going to be times when I have moments, where maybe I eat more dessert than I probably feel like I need, but I'm not a robot, so like I'm allowed to do that.
You're a human.
And so that was really, really helpful for me, and that's why I decided to raise funds for that cause, because it's something that's not really spoken about. Because obviously it's a sensitive thing, and it affects probably girls disproportionately more than males.
Yeah.
Which sucks. But then from a guy's perspective, Brady, I've just found it extra challenging, I think, because you just get some confusing messaging around what is the ideal male body type.
100%. It's a lot more prevalent than what people realise, I think. Specifically in sport where you're expected to be a certain weight or a certain physique. And like you might expect it in like bodybuilding. Like obviously their whole goal is to like look a certain way. But specifically in things like long endurance events like marathon running, or even like things like ballet or gymnastics and stuff, extremely prevalent with like you said, specifically like younger girls. It's been more obvious with, but like it happens to males as well, and issues with like the pressure of being a certain weight or looking a certain way to reflect your performance. And obviously as like an athlete that's like a high performance athlete, fueling your body is just like extremely important, and it's one of those things that younger athletes when they go into the field aren't taught. I mean, when you grow up, you're fighting with the idea of like who you are as a person, what you're meant to look like, how you're meant to feel, what your body shape's meant to be. And then on top of that, you put in the fact that you're a high level athlete and you're like expending all this other energy and have all this other pressure that maybe a normal teenager or young adult might not. And it just becomes a big mess of like, what am I meant to look like? Who am I meant to be? How much am I meant to weigh? And it's very obvious, like not very obvious, it's very prevalent in long distance events, ballet, gymnastics, and like obviously it's something that you've tackled with, and that's what one of the things that the Butterfly Foundation uh, supports. So that's a great cause that you've gone ahead and you've done something insane for, which was running around an athletics track for 500 laps. Because last year you ran around, you did 100.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I believe I saw in one of your videos you said you had more in the tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you admitted you had more in the tank, so you're going to double it, which is just like insane. And I was thinking about this the other day. Not the other day, literally last night. Because the difference between 100Ks and 200Ks, 100Ks, like, it's half the amount of Ks you're doing to 200, obviously, but it's not half the amount of effort.
No way.
Because, like, say you did have more in the tank, 100Ks, if that effort for 100Ks was a 7 out of a 10, then if you were to run from 100 to 200, you've already banked 100Ks. You've already been on your feet for 8+ hours, expended all this energy, like used all these like glycogen stores, and your muscles are already cramping.
Yeah.
100 to 200 is probably like a 9.5 out of 10.
Oh yeah.
So that's not like, the overall thing might be like an 8.5 out of 10. And mind you, this is just not exactly what it was, because running 100Ks isn't a 7 out of 10 effort. This is just an example. The overall thing might, it's 8.5 out of 10, but the whole second half was 9.5 out of 10. Like, the whole second half was way more fucked up than the whole first half. In theory, that's what I was thinking, because I was like, you can't just go, I did 100Ks and like I had more in the tank, so I reckon like I could do that again. It's like, maybe if you like clicked your fingers and you're like fresh legs, like freshly fueled, like had like 3 days of solid sleep, maybe you could do it again. But yeah, you had this crazy idea that you're like, I'm gonna do 100Ks back to back on an athletics track. And then for some reason you decided to do it under sleep deprivation, which was on the basis of the fact that you could have people join you the next day to run again. Because if you didn't do that, say you started at 5 a.m, would you have finished like just at a shocking time for people to join?
Yeah. So there's a few things in that. The when you're running for that long, like it was 22 hours. I thought at minimum it was going to take me 16 hours. So you either start at kind of a pretty shit time and run through the night to finish at a good time, or maybe you start at a better time, more sociable hour, but then you're finishing at a worse time, as you said. But then also, I liked what you said about 200K is definitely not twice as far as 100. And one thing that I knew I was going to be reminded about was the fact that 100K is still a bloody far way in itself.
Yeah.
But in my head, I needed to mentally break that down and not be afraid of that number, because if you're trying to run 200K, you can't be worried about the first 100K. And then come the actual day, Brad, and you were there for a lot of it, like over 100K. The first 100 of the 200 was harder than the 100 standalone that I did back on Mother's Day last year.
Yeah.
So can you imagine what the second 100 was?
Yeah.
There was a lot of doubts. There was a lot of doubts that it was going to happen.
What made you think that it was harder than last time, do you think? Because you're definitely fitter than last year.
100%.
But the first 100 of this year was more difficult than the 100 you did last year. Why do you think that?
Yeah, so there are a few things. I was definitely fitter, and I was mentally prepared better, even physically prepared. Last year, stupidly, I had about 6 ciders the night before. I was just stressed out. I was stressed out of my mind, and I was going to start at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
and got no sleep the night before because was just thinking about it.
Yeah.
And the alcohol didn't help. But then this time around, super prepared, ready to go. But then, and it sounds so soft to complain about, but the weather was just not great.
Yeah.
You know, at the start it was 20 something degrees.
It
low
was hot
20s.
that day. Like Saturday was hot.
It was like, I think it was a high of like 35 or something.
Yeah.
It was outrageous.
And then a cool change came in, which everyone knows when it barely even came in actually.
Yeah.
It cooled down they said a cool change, but the next day was crappy weather. And for everyone that knows that if one day's hot and the next day's crap, overnight the weather's just shit.
Yeah. Well, the thing was as well, can you imagine if I didn't start at 8:30 at night? Because I was kind of stuck. I couldn't really change the time too much because I had all these arrangements with the LSKD community run, and I told so many people that I'm starting at 8:30. I didn't want to send fucking 50 messages out to say, hey, I'm actually starting at this time.
Yeah.
Because it's just a nuisance.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that kind of worked out well, that it wasn't quite as hot. Still bad, but then the thing that really made the 100 of the 200 harder was that I was getting this severe GI distress, so gastrointestinal discomfort, because I was trying to eat so many carbs just to front load it, because I knew that obviously I've got to eat a lot during the run, and it felt like I was running with 10 beers in my gut. It was properly bad. Not to mention my hamstring was screaming at me because I just run 70k in one direction. Stupid. Should have run probably 50k one way. Change direction. Change direction, then change direction.
Yeah. Because I remember you told me that you're going to run 100k's one way and 100k's back the other. And I wanted to say to you, that's fucked. Change every 10k's or something. But I was like, nah, he knows what he's doing. I'll leave it.
Yeah.
Because even a couple days before, I went to see my physio, and I said I'm running around the track with you, and I didn't tell her how far I was going to run, but she's like, make sure you change directions. And in my head, I'm going, Richie wants to run 100 one way and 100 the other, and I'm like, yeah, we'll change directions. But could you tell the difference? You could feel it running that one direction for 70k's.
I was really in my head about it. I thought it was going to help more than it probably did when I changed at 70, but I was honestly so down and out. I thought this is it. I'm not getting much further than 70. I've got to do everything I can to try and salvage this. Yeah. So changed direction, changed shoes, went to the toilet, had a little cry. I was just feeling down in the dumps, mate. I didn't even need to go to the toilet. I just needed to have a moment.
Yeah. Because I'll rewind a bit to the start of the run. So I come down at 8, and you started off at 8:30, and I did the first 10k's with you, and that was at 4-minute 20s to 4-minute 30s, and it was fun. It felt easy. As you know, 4-minute 20s, for someone who's an experienced athlete, around a track feels easy. And there was 5 of us just flinging around, having a chat, and I thought to myself, okay, hold it in, 10k's, go to sleep, come back, because Richie's going to put in a big session tomorrow, join the big session tomorrow. But you were just flying around the track, and I'm like, this guy's built different. He's going to run 200k's in 4-minute 30s. And then I didn't see anything that happened overnight. So this is where I'm really interested, because I woke up to your updates, because you did an update every 10k's.
Yep.
At what point did you start to be okay, this is fucking hard, or I'm ready? I know you put up the video around 70k's where you're I've really been thinking about throwing the towel in. But prior to that, at what point were you this sucks, I'm miserable?
Even maybe 50 or 60k just wasn't feeling as easy as I thought it was going to feel, and in my head, last year when I did the 100, right, it was perfect weather.
Yeah.
And this, I know we already spoke about the heat. There was a bit of wind, and there weren't that many people on the track at midnight, right? So that's when I'm probably 40 or 50 Ks in. And I'm just working a bit harder than I wanted to. I'm starting to feel my hamstring. It's kind of cramping a bit. And I'm just like, it's so far to go. It's honestly so far to go.
Yeah.
And then, that 70K point, which is not a third of the way. It's probably about a sixth of the way, I reckon.
Yeah, 100%.
Just thinking about, just in a real negative spiral, thinking about all the people that I've told that I'm going to do 200K, that I'll never be able to look in the eyes again because I'm a complete fraud. Like, seriously, I was thinking, I'm never going to live this down. Like, I was so worried. And it sucks because in the lead up to the run, I was never thinking, it's going to be so amazing when I finish this.
Yeah.
And no one hardly ever thinks that way. You just think, what if I don't finish it?
Yeah.
Like, that's all you think about. And you're just trying to avoid that feeling.
Yeah. Hey, what got you through, do you think? What's the reason that you didn't throw the towel in, besides the fact there was no towels to throw?
I love that reference. Well, firstly, I was extremely grateful for Trina and Taz, who were there at the track. There wasn't that many at this time.
Yeah.
They talked me off the cliff. And
what time is this like?
Maybe like 1 or 2 a.m. It was so early. And so I just had some great friends and family. Like, Dad was there. He pulled an all-nighter. They just kind of were in my corner. No one said, you can quit, because I was looking for that. And I was pretty much telling them, like, it's not going to happen. There's absolutely no way.
Yeah.
And then the thing as well was the accountability of knowing the community run starting at 12. There's people that I really trust when they said that they're coming at, early in the morning, that I know will be there. Because let me tell you right now, Brady, there were some people that said they were going to come.
Yeah.
And I know who they are, and they did not come. But you know what? I don't focus on that. I focus on the people that supported me, and I'm so grateful for them.
No, but that, I 100% understand where you're coming from, because that speaks to who someone is as a person. That's something I'd pride myself on, is if I say I'm going to do something, you do it. Yeah. And that's exactly why you completed 200 Ks around the track. Because, like, prior to doing the event, you said, I'm going to do this. So you had to fucking do it. Like, it's pretty easy for someone to get out of bed pretty early and come down if they said they're going to do it. Like, not to throw shade on them. Like, everyone's to their own. It's just, I think you build the type of discipline being this kind of athlete. Like, you do all the boring work. You have to go and do it.
Yeah.
To actually see the results. So you become a man of your word, if that makes sense.
Definitely. And you know what? Like, I don't want to make it sound like I'm more important than I am. Like, people don't have to come and support me. Like, it's great that people did, and my good friends and family were there.
Yeah.
But, like, it's just the fact that people said that they were going to come and they didn't come.
Yeah.
That's what hurts, because, I didn't forget who said that.
Yeah.
And especially if you said you were going to come at some random time that, like, was a difficult moment. Because I ran during the early hours, like, with, only maybe 1 or 2 people at times. And then I was just thinking, please don't leave me, because this is going to be so hard to run by myself. Not feeling great, thinking about how far I've got to go.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's brutal. And then I can imagine the kind of feeling when you just wanted the sun to come up so bad.
Oh, yeah.
Because even if you go, like, for example, if I go on a long run on a Sunday, say I've got 35 Ks, if I do 10 Ks of that before sunrise in the dark, and then the sun rises, in my mind, and my body feels it as well, I'm like, oh, that was a free 10K. I'm like, now I'm refreshed. Like, the sun's up. I've only got 25K to run. I mean, I didn't bank 90K before the sun rose. So I'm sure your body didn't go like, oh, I feel fresh. I'm ready to run 110 now. But, yeah, what was the feeling like the sun rising? Did it make a difference?
honestly, not as much as I probably wanted it to. It just wasn't the sunrise that I had in my head that was gonna, completely lift me but it was more the people that were starting to filter in at that time.
Yeah.
That were like, in my corner, helping me out, running with me, and that's what I really sort of fed off.
Yeah.
But one thing though, quickly, Brady, was when the lights went out at the track because we didn't need them anymore. That was cool. I was like, yeah, we made it through the night because I was super grateful. The Geelong Athletics they had the lights on for us all night, which was awesome. But when they went out, it's like, oh yeah, now we're through that period.
Because I rocked up and I expected you to be at 140 k's, and only because that's what you told me you'd be at. And you're at 90, and I saw you walking with your head down, and a couple people around you. But I spoke to Taz and a few of the other boys, and said, yeah, he's battling. And I remember, I can't remember what turned you around. I've got a video on my phone. I'll play it over this. And you like maybe hit 90k or hit 100k, and you're like, we're back, baby. And then you were like miserable, and then you're like running around the corner, and you're like, Brady, what's 110k's? It's nothing. And then like probably 6k's later, just miserable again.
Yeah, it was an absolute roller coaster.
Yeah. Jump in.
Hey, mate.
Yeah. This is Papps.
How you going, mate? I'm Richie.
Richie knows enough about you because
me too. Brady was telling me about you before. Mate, well done at Chicago.
Thank you.
That's huge.
Yeah, it was first international marathon, obviously. Good fun to get over there. I certainly learnt a lot. It's a different beast running a marathon halfway across the world.
Oh, yeah.
My body didn't handle the travel too well. And you just get
it just kills everyone, yeah. It's so much harder to go to the US and race as opposed to like Japan.
Yeah,
like
we were speaking about that today.
I think Japan's just like you just get excited and you want to do travel stuff. Like I ate so much crap in the lead up, and then like on the day just felt good, but not like as good as I should have. So certainly learned from it, and the legs didn't bounce back like they would usually after a nice massage and a bit of a taper. So learning for the next one, maybe get in a little bit earlier, get a massage over there, and try and take a little bit better care of the body with the nutrition just beforehand. And deep dish pizzas are lovely. Maybe not the best thing for pre-race run.
Well, the good thing about that, you won't have to worry about any of those logistics. So, but Brady said you're in shape.
Feeling alright at the moment.
How'd you go then?
I actually was quite surprised. I managed to hit the paces, so I was expecting coming back into the wind to struggle on the on reps, but I think just because doing it that way around where you're finishing coming into the wind, I was like, I've only got 3 more to hit, and it's just like just get that first one and then get the next one and keep doing it until finish.
What was your sesh?
I had 15k, which turned into about 16.5 with Brady to start off with at like a moderate pace, and then I had 20k of 10k a little bit below marathon pace, and 1k but below marathon pace, interchanging with 1k a bit above. Oh yeah,
for 20k.
Yeah,
that's solid. Yeah,
good session.
It was solid. I did 4k of it
in Super Blast, so whilst I'm in,
they're all quick though.
What were you wearing, Alphas?
Nah, these. I had the Saucony Endorphin Elite 2s on, so they're great. I'm in love
not
with them
bad.
Yeah. I've done all my marathons in the ones.
Yep.
And then I bought a set of the Hoka Cielo ×1 2s.
Okay.
And I thought they were great. I ran a half marathon in them, and I felt really quick, but they just destroy my legs.
Really?
I feel like they're a great 5, 10, maybe half marathon shoe.
Yeah.
But I just don't feel like I can rely on them like I can the Saucony Endorphin Elite 2 or 1 past those longer distances. Even 30 to the 36.5k mark here, in the Saucony's, I just feel like when I'm starting to get a bit tired, like I can almost rely on the shoe a little bit.
Yep.
And I'm not like super conscious of turning or anything like that. I'm still feeling good. So
Yeah.
Just
Well,
that
that's what you
stability.
want. Yeah, you want to have that confidence in your shoe, don't you?
Yeah.
If you're running in it for 42Ks, like you don't want to have any doubts.
nah, because then it's just something to sneak into your head between 30 and 42, and
Someone to give you an excuse to fucking
yeah.
jog it in.
No, I love Saucony.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
love
are good.
Saucony
They
as
make
well.
some proper good stuff.
Yeah.
They're got to be my favourite shoe brand, I think.
Oh yeah.
I've had the Triumphs,
Yeah.
which are amazing.
I love the Triumphs.
Even the Speeds, just for like
Great shoe, yeah.
Yeah, they're a fun shoe. Just like something that you can still hit really good paces in, but it's not full blown race day runner that like lacks stability or anything like
Yeah,
that. They're
yeah.
still super comfortable, and you can run in them for days. So
Yeah.
got to be the best shoe.
What's
I'm with
yours? Your go-to.
Alpha.
Yeah.
Alpha 3. I actually prefer Alpha 1 favourite of all time, but
Have you got
They're
a
all
new
exhausting.
pair that can still give you a bit, or
nah, unfortunately not. But I really like the Alpha 3.
Can you
it's
still
it's
buy-
almost just as good.
the Alpha One brand new?
If you have like $800.
Yeah, on stock
Really?
But I'm not doing that.
My
Makes you want to buy a few sets of the Saucony Endorphin Elite 2s in this first colourway.
Yeah.
And just keep one like unboxed for a while.
well, I've thought about doing that with the Super Blast because I know the ones just like would sell out straight away and
Yeah.
just impossible to find. But they've seemed to be able to keep a lot of stock of the twos
I
so
think
far,
I
and
s-
they're cheap in Japan too. I was going to buy a pair, $100 cheaper.
Oh, that's so
Super
good.
Blast.
Yeah, so and Alpha Flies, everything.
Because is Asics fundamentally a Japanese brand?
I don't know, but a lot of their stuff for Asics was cheaper. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why
And
the
Mizuno.
Alpha Fly was. Mizuno is Japanese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if Asics might be.
I think they might be, yeah.
Yeah.
What are you training for now, Richie?
I'm gonna do
Okay,
Ballarat
so-
with you. Yeah, not too bad, thanks, mate. I'm gonna do 3-hour group at Ballarat, so same as Brady, and then the big ticket for me later in the year. I'm gonna go do Berlin.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That's exciting.
yeah, so it's all just kind of leading into that. But cross country season starts in about 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm the like the manager for the Geelong region team, so looking forward to that responsibility and
How's
yeah,
the team
just
looking?
better. Yeah, we haven't been good for a few years, but you got to think like in our glory days, we had Lee Troop, like 3-time Olympian from Geelong, fucking Craig Mottram, one of the, he's still got the 5K record for Australia, and just like a bunch of stars,
Yeah.
and they actually were so good that all the Melbourne teams are complaining, saying, "How come you are allowed to be the Geelong region? You should be fucking Chilwell and Geelong Guild and like, a bunch of smaller branches."
Yeah.
And they're like, nah, we need to combine because we're not as big as you guys like in Melbourne.
Yeah.
But anyway, so now I'm just like kind of taking over, trying to, just like bring, like it's good now, but I just want to kind of make it better and hopefully we have, surge of numbers and just people that are like buying into it because we're kind of fair weather races where we'll go into all the fast flat courses because it's a 10 race series, but then for the hilly hard races in Ballarat or Bendigo, the guys are a bit hesitant to go out to those ones, so it's like trying to get the buy-in and but yeah, it makes you a way better runner. Like you boys should both consider it because you're going well now, but you do this competition, you just realise like, holy fuck, there are so many good runners in Vic. And
What's the structure?
So 10 rounds, it's usually like every 2 or 3 weeks. The average distance of the race is probably 10K, so there's like a 6K, 8K, 10K, 12K. Then there's road races like 5K, 6K, like a relay. There's, I think, 3 relays. Then there's a 10K road race at Albert Park, half marathon at Burnley. There's like some really, really good races, but it's just awesome because you go there and you get humbled because the competition's so good. Like if I was as fit as I was when I did Osaka, I'd come maybe top like 20, and like there's a few hundred racing, right? And so,
and I wouldn't be able to see you finish it.
but it's motivating, fellas, because like
Yeah.
you're doing these races, you're doing 8Ks over hills. No one gives a fuck what time you ran, and you're just trying to beat other people from other teams, and then you're scoring points for Geelong. So the first 6 fastest score in the Div 1 team, then the next 5 fastest score in the Div 3 team, and so on. And we have 3 teams, so you're scoring points, and you just try like you meet other Geelong runners, and
Can
it's awesome.
anyone go and do this?
Yeah, it's great. Like I'm disappointed that I only started doing it last year, because it would have been so much better for me to start, like for my trajectory to start earlier.
Yeah.
But mate, it'll break up your year so well if you do it. Yeah. Anyway, something to think about.
I've actually genuinely never thought about it.
Well, you probably haven't even heard of it, right?
Existed, to be honest.
I didn't know it was until I've seen a post from someone posted something with you, and it might have been Geelong Athletics, but I think you raced a 3K somewhere. I might be wrong. I don't know.
Nah.
I don't know what it was. Someone posted something about, and they called you, you and someone else, the running royalty of Geelong, and
hold on to that nickname.
Yeah,
that's not right.
Now I got
right.
I'm going to address you as the running royalty of Geelong now. But yeah, I saw something about it with Geelong Athletics or that. But yeah, it's not something it's not like local footy. Like you don't, it's just not advertised, or maybe it's the world that I've grown up in. I've grown up in the, like we've been like local footy players for our whole teenage and young adult lives.
Fall into running through like wanting to keep fit, or like COVID and not having access to other things, and then just find other people that run.
Yeah, because you're pretty new to it as well, right? Did you used to play for St Albans?
I did, yeah. I started running through COVID, to be honest, and then just didn't really stop. Or I did for a little while, and I got unfit again, and was like, I need to start doing something consistently to keep myself fit, and started running and hitting the gym again, and the running slowly took over, and it hasn't really stopped for probably the last 18 months to 24 months, and that's progressively getting more and more serious. And I only said to Brady today, like, you might not necessarily want to get up and go for a run, but you never regret it afterwards. It's always an improvement on the day. So
100%.
Trying to, whilst I'm in this zone and in this habit, I think whether it's a good or a bad habit, like habits are really difficult to get out of and get into. So at the moment, it's a good habit, and I'm in it, so I'm trying to stay there.
Heck yeah.
I actually, I always tell people about your, like, not your running journey, but like,
suck at running is the point.
Yeah, I even said,
do.
like, you were always just like the fullback of the twos, which this isn't a dig, like,
I just was a very, very mediocre footballer.
Yeah.
Let's call it how it is.
And
I love footy, doesn't mean I was any good at it.
Yeah. No, you were good at footy. But you were definitely never the fit person that you are today. And I always tell people about your first marathon, and I was telling these boys last night how you went from like this person who you're like footy fit, but not like this fit. And then
at the time too, I was going to the gym like 6 times a week, like doing way too much weights, like
And like this will be for the people that don't know, this is outstanding. Your first ever marathon was at Sydney 2 years ago, when it was like 35. It was like 35 degrees.
It was outrageous.
It was the worst air quality Sydney's had for like 10 years. They put out warnings for like people with asthma. And it was your first marathon, and you ran a sub 3. And I was just like, I remember when you told me it was your first marathon, I just assumed it was like your 3rd or 4th. And when you're like, oh yeah, it was my first marathon, I was like, that's insane. And I remember that's the only reason why, like 8 weeks out from Ballarat last year, I was like, I'm going to run a sub 3. I'm like, Papps has run a sub 3. I'm going to do everything I can and try and run a sub 3. And I was telling Richie before, like, oh, I reckon you'll run sub 240 at Ballarat if everything goes well.
So many variables in a marathon. So much is going to go right for that to happen.
But for you to have the confidence in me, I'd have all the confidence in you. Like that workout today you did was unreal. And Richie said, like, yeah, does that fire you up? And I was like, fucking oath. Like, you're one of the people that, like, you're literally the reason I ran a sub 3. And then you did 247 at Chicago. Then was genuinely one of the reasons I wanted to run sub 245. And I think, like, I said to Richie, me and you will always have this relationship where, like, no matter if, like, it literally wouldn't matter if, like, you're quicker or I'm quicker. We just, like, always want to see the other person be, like, the best possible version.
It's inspiration.
And, it's like a balance, though, because, like, sometimes you see someone doing something better than you, and you're like, oh, I want to beat him. It doesn't feel like that at all. It's just like, oh, that's crazy that Papps has done that. I can do it as well.
Do you think it comes back to, though, like, the foundation of our relationship is from a team sports environment where our entire job is like, depending on how you view sports, but like in team sports, the way I played team sports the entire time, I'm trying to make everyone else around me better, because if they're better, then we're better.
100%. And, like, you were, like, also a massive role model to me at St Albans, and we actually got to co-captain together a year at St Albans, and that was sick. And Papps was number 29, like, for years at the club, and when he left, handed it down to me, and that was just like, and literally that is like the basis of our relationship. It's like, and now it's gone into running, which whoever the fuck thought would happen. Like, what a stupid sport.
I always tell this story. I remember I moved to London after being at St Albans, and one of the blokes that we played football with come over for a weekend, and I was playing football over there socially, and we got him a gig to play with us because it's a very social comp.
Yeah.
And one of our other mates hurt his hamstring at halftime, and the coach said to the entire group, I want to chuck Papps in the midfield for a bit of speed. And our other mate that was there legitimately laughed out loud in front of the entire team. That's like pretty accurately sums up my running capabilities.
Yeah. Oh, we debuted in the seniors together as well, I reckon.
Would have been...
I reckon we did.
I'm trying to think what year. 2018?
I don't know. We've had a few milestones and a lot more.
The big one I really enjoyed, because we constantly had a bit of back and forward about the number 29, and then you don't anticipate being like, especially as a twos footballer, like I'm not expecting to give my number to anyone. And one of our good friends' mothers was the team manager, and she's like, you get to give your number to someone, and straight away I thought of you immediately, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, I was 29 in juniors as well, yeah. No, so that's the basis of our relationship. And, like, going forward, like you said, there's so many events, and we really want to do, like, a international marathon together, which would be sick, where we both run a PB.
Yeah.
Which would be cool.
There'd be nothing better than that.
But, yeah, you're moving back to Geelong? Is that confirmed?
So, yeah, it is confirmed. Should be, like, hopefully the next couple of months. So aiming for about May.
Yeah.
To move back down.
Where are you at the moment?
North Melbourne.
Oh yeah.
Living and working in Melbourne, but from Geelong. So
yeah.
Just keen to get back down around family and friends, and be able to do this stuff more often. Come down for a run.
Heaps more runs.
At the moment, it's few and far between, and every time we do get to do it, it's really enjoyable.
Yeah.
Did you say you just did a Sarka as well? So you went off the back of the Sarka into a 200k run around the Landy Field.
Stupid. It was like 2.5 weeks after. Which
was that always in the plan, or like how far in advance did you decide to do the 200k?
Maybe like, it was a couple of months leading in, but then I just figured because I seriously did not know what was going to happen after the 200. I thought I could be in a wheelchair right now. Not that would be the worst thing in the world, but I just figured I'll do it as soon after Osaka.
Because you'll be fit?
Well, because I'll be fit. And I won't...
quick fit.
No, but I'll do it as soon after as I can, because then if it's going to, like, you know, set me back, at least it's not going to take up my whole year.
Yeah.
Whereas if I was thinking about doing this in a month's time, then,
Could
you know,
Berlin.
yeah, it just impacts things further down the line. Yeah. So I'd rather have I'd rather be kind of peaking at the same time rather than like stretching it out and in the back of my mind thinking, oh, like I've still got this thing coming up. Yeah. You know what I mean?
No, that does make sense.
It's like not smart to do, obviously, but it was the way I had to do it.
And your coach didn't want you to do it, did he?
Nah, he was not about it. He almost dropped me. He was like, "This is so stupid." Every time I brought it up, he's like, "This is the dumbest thing ever." And there were times when I'm like, "You're actually right." Like, obviously, the cause was paramount, and that was at the forefront. If I wasn't doing it for the cause, and it was just to, you know, see if I could run 200k,
yeah, it's dumb.
I could have pulled out. But then the fact that I told so many people that I was going to do it, there was absolutely no way I could, you know, get out of it. Yeah. I would have had to move town, deleted Instagram, deleted everything, because like
go off grid.
Because that would be the one thing that would be worse than not finishing, would to be not starting it after saying that I was going to do that.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't think you could ever live that down.
Yeah. And yeah, we were just rehashing all those feelings before, because at 70 k's in, you're pretty close to throwing the towel in.
So close.
And I remember I woke up and I was like, okay, he's going to be 90 k's in. Oh no, 140 k's in. I woke up and I see this live 70 k's in, like I'm ready to, like, I'm going to throw the towel in, but I'm lucky I didn't bring any towels, like going through it. And I thought, oh no, like, genuinely fucking battling.
Yeah.
And you said that you, like, were hashing out your speech to people, in your head, that you, like, you genuine give up speech that you were going to tell people at 70 k's.
It was seriously grim. Like, and because I wanted to be a man and I wanted to face the people that said they were going to come. Yeah. And so I thought, well, I've got to stay at this track. So I'm going to stay at this track. And this, mind you, this is probably 1 or 2 a.m. I'm in the bathroom ready to call it in. I thought, I've got to at least see the people when they come in. Because if they're coming in to, you know, support me, I can't not be here.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to keep running for as long as I can. And Dad, at this point, Dad was proper pissed off, because he's like, you got to stop, mate. You got to injure yourself. Because every time I'd run past him, I'd just like wince in pain because my hamstring was sore. And yeah, as I said, I felt like I had 10 beers in my guts because my GI distress was crazy. And then he went to have a bit of a nap, couldn't sleep because he just like was sleeping in the car. And then he came, and he was obviously worried as well. And then he came back and he's like, so you're done? And I'm like, no, I'm not done. I'm feeling better. And he's like, he just got mad. And then I just keep going. And I'm like, Dad, I've got to be here until 12. And he eventually just kind of accepted that. And then I just knew that I was behind pace, but it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
Because like, I'll take as long as I need to get it done.
Yeah.
I mean, we're laughing about it, but it's a crazy achievement.
Thanks,
That's
mate.
actually wild.
Yeah, it's insane.
Especially for such a good cause.
Yeah.
And for over that stretch of time and that many Ks, through a marathon, you go through the emotional roller coaster. So I can't imagine the stories that you were telling yourself across 200 Ks.
It's not even like the Ks, like the time on feet. Like, you're on your feet in a marathon, like, at this level, like under 3 hours, but you're on your feet for 22 hours.
I can't fathom it. That's why I'm laughing.
Yeah, it was a bloody long time. But yeah, there were just so many people that, you know, supported me along the way, and just even the kids that were saying things to me. Like, I remember distinctly, probably 10 or 15 Ks in, super early, some little girl, like, she was cheering her heart out for me every lap.
Yeah.
And then she said something like, keep going, Richie. Like everyone's counting on you. I'm like, oh no,
You're like, oh shit.
Like I'm coming back to that when I need it, you know, because it was just like it was so nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was getting really emotional. And then another kid later on, I don't know whether you were there at that point, Brady, but he said something like, "Mate, do you know how inspired I am about this?" And like I was truly touched by people saying things like that, and it's just like I just had to keep it together because I could have just stopped and like just let it overcome me. But then
100%. And like you're putting so much energy into physically running 200 Ks, also like managing the emotional state of like the highs and lows, and then just like the smallest little motivational thing, you just like, I'm gonna break down. Like I could cry just because someone said like, you're all counting on me. You're like, fuck, like I'm actually doing something important, but also like trying to battle the emotions of running 200 Ks.
Definitely. And then when someone would rock up to the track that I hadn't seen yet, you bet I wasn't going to walk. Yeah. I didn't want to be walking when they would come, so I'd always get a boost from that.
You walked when I arrived.
I already seen you, mate. I already seen you earlier. But no, when like a new person came, I'm like, yeah, I better get running. They didn't come to just watch me walk around this thing.
Yeah, I remember because like, which is totally fair. Like there was a lot of walk running happening. And like you were riding the wave, so like you'd feel good for a couple Ks and then feel real bad for a lot.
Yeah.
And I remember at one point you were walking a lot, and I didn't know whether I should be like, okay, does Richie need me to be the person to tell him like it's time to get a fucking move on, mate? Like we're gonna be here for 3 days, or let him be, because like the slightest thing could just trigger you.
Could go two ways.
Yeah.
could be really helpful.
Yeah.
Start running, everything goes well, or could result in tears in an outburst.
I was asking people, I'm like, what is he going to respond to? Is he going to respond to me being like, all right, mate, like, time to keep going? Yeah. Or like, at one point I came up to you and I said, what do you need from me? Like, do you want me to push you, or do you want to just like be in your own space? And your response was, I'll try and run the next 300. And I was like, okay, I don't think I got
asshole.
I was like, I don't think I got through to him.
Nah, that's such a great question to ask. Like, what do you need? Because, yeah, I mean, we spoke about it before. Like, you don't ask someone how they're feeling when they're obviously feeling shit. And people that are aware don't do that. But then the other thing as well, in terms of like what would have motivated me for the next one, it's like, if everyone's telling me something and then someone else tells me something different, that's probably the thing that's going to land. And because everyone wants to be your best mate and like super supportive.
Yeah.
But it's a bit harder to say, hey mate, stop being a wimp and just like get a move on.
That's what I wanted to do to you.
Which I would have loved that. Like coming from you, but like it depends on the person, right?
I also like we've probably known each other well for like a month. And I'm like, I don't know. Like obviously he's got the dog in him, and so he's gonna respect that. If I said to you like, all right, stop being a wimp and run, in the moment you'd probably be like, fuck off. But at the end you're like, I'm glad like you would tell me that. And it was just like such a delicate thing in the moment where I was like, I don't know if I could.
I think it depends who it comes from as well.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
If it's just like, if some red, like that little girl, she turned around and was like, how come you're not running? Or something like that, you're probably like, screw you. But someone else who's potentially also ran 100K and running with you, maybe you respond a little bit better.
Yeah, definitely.
There was one point where you were walking a lot and then you got a bit of motivation and you're like, it's not called my bloody far walk. And you started running again. And then that lasted maybe like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
What did you do in the couple of days afterwards? Like, how was the body and what did you do to try and recover?
Musculoskeletal system was actually okay, surprisingly. But my immune system was just completely shot. Yeah. Like, it just did not know what
as well
was
as
going on.
like being awake for like the whole time.
Yeah.
Let alone putting in 200 Ks. Like you didn't sleep for like 2 days. Basically.
Yeah, 100%. Because like so like woke up in a pool of sweat 2 days in a row after the run, and the bed was proper soaked. Like it was pretty gross. And then was limping around. Obviously, I had some like faint kind of chest pain, which was concerning. I'm like, fuck, I hope this isn't permanent. But then, yeah, it's subsided now, but it was not ideal. And then I think the true damage is like, your kidney, your liver, like trying to actually consume that much food, and just the strain on your body is so, multifactorial, that it's not just your legs that cops the pounding, like and emotionally coming down from it. And I haven't really spoke about this much, but like the first couple of days, I'm like high, and then after that, I'm coming down, sleeping heaps, and I'm like, am I sleeping for 10 hours a day because I really need to, or am I actually just kind of a bit depressed? And it was probably both.
Yeah.
And then I just think about the run, and I think about, little moments, and then just get a bit sad that it was over, but then also extremely grateful that it happened. And yeah.
I'm sure you weren't in the moment. You weren't thinking, "I'm going to be sad. This is over." Yeah. I would love to get into the preparation of it too, like the carb load and like how you go about that.
Planning and trying to figure out like what kind of food to eat, because you can't be just like punching gels or something like that.
Yeah, I learned that.
Yeah, on the day. This is insane as well. This is another, mind you, I don't have any of the answers. I just have an opinion on things. And Richie goes, "You're going to try and eat a 90-gram precision every hour?"
Yeah, which was actually working early.
Yeah,
and I was on pace.
At a certain point, you'd like spew though.
But yeah, they're big. Like
that's why I was getting the extreme dehydrated boys at 70k when it was real bad. Because not only was I doing 90-gram precision, I was taking Powerade on as well. Yeah. So I was probably topping out over 100k just jogging, and your body doesn't need 100 grams when you're jogging. Yeah. When I'm racing a marathon, I'll take 105, 110 an hour, which is like heaps, right? Yeah. But then, because I wasn't expending that much, it was just building up, and then it's like, oh boy,
you're trying to build a backload because you've got like 100 Ks on top of 100 Ks.
Yeah, and I thought I wasn't going to be able to eat later, but then I had to kind of just be a bit humble and accept that, hey, it's okay to walk, run, and eat while I'm walking. Yeah. And if I'm going to walk, I'm not fucking around. I'm not just walking around this track like without purpose. I'm like getting shit, and that's why I was so helpful. Like yourself, Brady, all the other people like Aiden, mum and dad, like everyone just giving me food, and then I would eat it, and then like they'd just take it off me straight away, or like give me a bottle, take a sip, and then I'd just hand it to someone, and they'd take it for the lap. So yeah, I was really grateful.
Did you have a plan in the lead up to it? Were you like, for example, previously I've never measured my carbs, but leading up to this I did, because I had the idea I was going to go there to do 50.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to measure 10 grams per kilo of body weight for the 3 days prior. And then the day before I lean off, because I just feel way better if I don't eat heaps the day before the event. Yeah. So I'll have like a big breakfast.
Yep. So
leading into it, are you doing like 10 grams per kilogram body weight for like fucking 20 days? Not really, but like a certain amount of time. Would you have a plan?
I think you're kind of capped at a couple of days anyway. Like you'll probably hit your maximum over 2 or 3 days. So my understanding is there's not much more benefit to carb loading for longer.
Unless you're still exercising during that time.
Yeah, which I wasn't doing much.
Yeah.
And then, I was actually less scientific about the 200 than the...
I'm just going to look. Yeah, sorry, mate.
Than the Osaka Marathon. The Osaka Marathon, I was dialed in, counting every gram. For this one, it's like... It's almost... The harder it is and the more things that can go wrong, why would you why would you bother with like one specific thing? Because I know that no matter how much I eat, no matter how much glycogen I've got in my muscles, it's obviously going to get depleted. So I've got to just put it back in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it wasn't too scientific at all.
You just went into it eating heaps.
Well, you saw me. I had pancakes the morning of, and they had plenty of carbs. But yeah, no, I was pretty loaded.
Yeah. I remember thinking, because obviously you started the run at 8:30 p.m. what we spoke about before, but because we went for breakfast at like 7 a.m.
Yeah.
So you woke up at 6 on the Saturday or something?
Maybe 5.
Yeah. So you've woken up at 5. The plan was to nap during the day, maybe?
Yeah, did not sleep a wink.
Which was
Nah.
But I slept great the night before somehow. I think because I did like a post and I just outlined all my fears about the run, and so that like cleared my head, and I didn't need to worry about that. You know how like when you just like get it out there, and so yeah, slept great. But then during the day was not going to happen.
Yeah. If you think you went back in like and prepared for it again, hypothetically you're like, I'm going to run 200 Ks this weekend.
Yeah.
What changes in terms of like the gels and the preparation of eating, as well as like the start time?
Yeah, you've asked a good question. So I'll just take on more whole food, and I wouldn't hesitate to ask people to go and get me whatever food I was feeling like eating.
Yeah.
Just like salty, high fat food, like doesn't matter, just calories. And then what was the other part? Like start time, I guess.
Because if you wanted to, because the original idea was maybe you'll beat the Australian record for 200 Ks.
Yeah.
So if you, if you're going for that again, are you waking up at 5 a.m, doing a whole day and starting at 8:30?
Yeah, that was probably not ideal in itself. But you know, I want to preface it by saying me thinking that I could run the Australian record was not the most outrageous thing that I've ever thought, because for context, the guy that's run it, Yanis Kouros, he ran like 15 and a half hours or something, right?
Yeah.
And I thought I was going to be a little bit behind that. Maybe if everything absolutely went perfect, I could beat it. But he ran 2 hours 25 for a marathon, and I've run 2:22, which is slightly quicker. But maybe he never cared about the marathon because he has set pretty much every record further than 100k.
Yeah.
So we're talking 100k, 200k, 400k, 1000k. So he's just the goat of ultra running. And I quickly found out, fellas, or I was reminded, ultra running is a completely different sport to running a fast marathon.
Yeah.
That being said, I know that I could have run faster than 22 hours, because let me tell you, probably lost 30 minutes minimum in the toilet, like just through probably half a dozen stops. Didn't stop my watch though, because that's cheating, and we don't do that. And then I've complained about it enough, but the weather was proper shit.
Yeah.
Like it was just so bad.
But had such stunning weather this summer as well to get like a shit weekend of weather. Frustrating.
And the flow-on effect as well of that, because then you've got less people that are inclined to come and support you, because they just.
It was I will say, like, it was grim looking. I was running, so I didn't care, because I like running in the rain too. Yeah, and you're putting yourself through 200 Ks, so I'm like, it's cool that I'm here running on the track, like as a part of this. But for the people that were like standing under we had 2 gazebos set up here for LSKD, and people just standing under there while it was just like wind and rain, just watching people just run around the blue track, and I was just thinking like, that's way more miserable than me running in it.
Yeah, 100%. And I understand people like didn't want to go through that weather, But we do have a nice shelter bit here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just wasn't ideal time.
Do you think you'd start at like 8 in the morning next time?
Yeah, potentially. Because what would that be? 6 an hour? Nah, because then I'll be finishing at like midnight.
But if it wasn't for supporters to be there, would you?
What about 4 o'clock in the morning or something?
Yeah,
that'd be nice.
Do some hard yards before everyone gets here, and then finish at like 8 o'clock at night or something like that.
Yeah, I do like running a little bit by myself. The thing is though, you're assuming that if you start at that gross kind of first thing in the morning time, that you're sleeping well the night before. I knew that I was probably going to have a shit sleep before this one. So it's like, well, if I'm going to have a shit sleep, then, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. That makes good sense. Because
guys, I'm starting to get freezing.
You're right.
Yeah,
but,
good to
really
meet
good
you,
to meet you, mate. And hopefully another chance to catch up sometime soon, maybe over.
Yeah. I'll see you at Ballarat.
Yeah.
I'll cheer you on while I'm in the 3-hour group.
Oh yeah, because you did it last year and you had a shit sleep the night before.
Yeah.
So you had the idea. You already knew that like what could happen if you started in the morning and you had a shit sleep and then you went into it.
Yeah.
And like obviously the year before, what did you run the 100K in?
7 hours 39.
Yeah, which is what pace?
4:35 pace.
Yeah. So I think everyone believed. I genuinely believed. I thought you were crazy for it, but I genuinely believed. Like I was like, this motherfucker's gonna run 200Ks in sub 4-minute 30s, and I was worried because I was like, I said I was gonna do the last 50K with you, but I was like worried I was gonna have to run 50K at 4-minute 30s.
Yeah. I was thinking about that for you too. I was like, he doesn't need to be doing this right now.
I had this hip niggle coming from Japan.
Oh yeah.
And all slow pace stuff, I couldn't feel it. But the more I lift my knee above 90 degrees, the more I could feel it.
Yeah.
And the physio was like, yeah, sweet, running's fine as long as it's like slow and not lifting your knee above. And I'm thinking like, yeah, I can manage 4-minute 30s, but like, what's this gonna do to my hip? And then I was like, I said I'm gonna do it, so I'm gonna do it. But anyway, that went out the window. Before we wrap up, I want to talk about the end of it.
Yeah.
And the feelings at the very end, because obviously, like, that's the moment where it's like you've completed it, and we gave you that last lap to run by yourself.
I need to thank you again. I don't think I thanked you yet for that, but that was really nice and it was really thoughtful because so at the time we had a proper good group.
Yeah, we had. So for those that weren't here, in the last, let's say, it was probably like 15K. Actually, I don't even know. But in the last like hour or so, we just had like one big group walk running around this track to get to the end.
Yeah.
And then when the end was in sight, it was like, I think did you run the last
the last mile, the last 4.
Oh, yeah.
So I got talked into talked into running the last mile, and I was content to run the last lap, maybe last 2 laps. There was no way I was going to walk it in. Like, you just don't do that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, 4 laps to go. Start running. It wasn't very fast. It was more like a jog. And then each lap, it was just like progressively faster. And people were saying the right things to me. Like, I think, again, Raya said, it's all mental. Like, you're fine. Like, you can do it. And just people saying stuff like, yeah, it's all mental, made me think that, oh, hang on, I'm actually not in that much pain and I've only got a few minutes to go. So I'm just going to send this. And then went through 3 laps to go. Like, everyone's, getting rowdy. I'm loving it, having fun. 2 laps to go. And then 1 lap to go. And then, you, Brady, you asked if I wanted to run the last lap by myself, which was awesome. And then everyone kind of waited at the finish. I ran the last 400 as hard as I could at the time. And came through, finishing, lane 4, as you do. And then just was, like, completely cooked. But at that time, I was so high that I was just going around, giving as many high fives as I could. And thinking back to that, being in that moment, I was given so many high fives, I thought, I don't want people to think I'm carrying on here. but really, I probably had every right to be honest.
It's
And
not
you know,
carry on.
I regretted that I didn't high five every single person that was there, because honestly, like I was so grateful for everyone that was there. People that gave up hours and hours of their weekend to come and watch me, you know, walk around at an athletics track. So that was a small regret. And then,
and then after that, so I think you got helped to the car.
Well, so I gave a quick speech.
The speech.
Well, I said all the kind of things that I wanted to say. Probably didn't give it as much credit to, you know, certain individuals that I wanted to, but there were so many people that I had to thank, and I made a point of, you know, messaging people that really helped me get through it, and made sure to do that. But then also, I've got to be kind of a bit forgiving to myself, because I was extremely sleep deprived. So I'm never going to give, and obviously I'm physically depleted. So I'm never going to give that perfect speech that I want to anyway.
Yeah.
But I would have liked to have just had my time again to say exactly what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
And then, was on the ground after that, because I just thought I need to get horizontal. I'm in so much pain now. The pain starts flooding in, and just lay on the ground. I wanted to kind of be in that state, just feeling the pain.
Yeah.
Just feeling it, and just like, you know the Goggins.
Yeah.
He talks about how, you know, you've earned this pain, and so that was on my mind. And like,
100%.
please, just, if you don't need to talk to me right now, or you're not trying to like give me exactly what I need in terms of like a pill or something, I just don't really need to be chatting to you. And people were so nice, like coming in saying, oh, how inspired they were or whatnot. I love that. But then I was offered chocolate by someone, and I was just like, please, just leave me. I don't need chocolate right now. I've just eaten about 10,000 calories worth of sugar the past,
literally,
22
I
hours.
just got type 2 diabetes from carb loading.
And so that's obviously the last thing that you want, right? But I understand that, you know, not everyone, very few people will know what it's like to go through that.
Yeah.
And then, laid there. We did the pack up. I didn't help with the pack up. I was a bit lazy, and then got carried to the car by my mum and my auntie and my sister and everyone. And the thing about that, Brady, as well, I was nervous because they were trying to carry me and they were kind of struggling a little bit. And I'm like, please, please, please do not drop me. Because if you drop me, and like I trust them all, but just the way it was just a bit awkward. I was like, if you drop me, I'm going to break every bone in my body. Like, I'm that fragile at the moment. My knees are on fire.
Yeah.
Seriously, like, I've never felt that kind of pain, and in my knees especially. And so I was just thinking, holy crap, I'm never doing this again. I'd never want to get old and like feel this constant knee pain.
Yeah.
If it ever happens. And then, got help to the car. Miserable car ride home because I was so uncomfortable.
So you're in Vano, aren't you?
Yeah, so it's like 30 minutes away from the track.
Yeah.
Couldn't stretch out in the car, and it was so painful.
Did you eat dinner that night?
As soon as I got home, Mum and Dad pretty much carried me inside. And then after I had a bath, got in bed, Mum made me like a tomato and cheese toastie. I ate that, and it tasted delicious. It was like the first proper savoury food that I'd had that wasn't Macca's chips the whole time. And it was delicious. And then I just went to bed. It was about 7 p.m.
And you were up early the next day. Not early, but...
Yeah, my body clock just woke me up at about 5. And as I was saying before...
And you slept the whole night?
Slept the whole night. I was out like a light, but woke up and the whole bed was drenched. And I was soaking. And it was like, oh, this is so bad.
Yeah. And then the next day, how did you feel?
Great. I was just kind of like reliving what happened, and Mum and Dad were like super proud of me, saying really nice things, and I'm rewatching a few like stories that people have captured, and you know what the funny thing was, I couldn't see a lot of them because you know how it's got a 24-hour time limit. So I'm like, I actually don't know what you posted, but like I'm so grateful that people were like helping me spread awareness and they were there and stuff. So I was just trying to get back to people, and then obviously people want to know how I'm feeling, and it's like sending the same kind of message over and over again, which like you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, unbelievable. Like, truly inspiring. And I sent you a message after it because as far as the people I know and I'm close with, you're like the best runner that I know, especially across marathon distance. And we've only become friends just recently, but getting to know you on the lead up to the run, I got to know more about who you are as a person rather than a runner. And just every conversation I had with you, you'd bring up something that you're grateful for. And you're always saying, oh, I'm so grateful for this, or like the smallest little things. Like, I'm so grateful for this person that come and did this, and it gave me like more of a picture of who you are as a person and not obviously just a runner. And like a lot of people see your achievements and know Richie Egan is like a really good marathon runner, which is a person who you are. It is a part of your identity. But yeah, I hope that we could you got to show me who you are as a person and your morals, and what you did, not just for like the community of running, but inspiring people and like putting something out in the world saying, I'm going to go do this. And then for one, like you went and fucking did it, which was absolutely crazy. And you were completely honest the whole time about how you were feeling. You're completely honest about like when you wanted to give up, when you were excited, you were so grateful for everyone that came down. And that truly speaks to who you are as a person, rather than the number at the end, rather than the person who ran 200 Ks or was on their feet for 22 hours through sleep deprivation. You're the person who like inspired people, and you were just grateful for like the tiniest little things. So I think you should be really proud for that part, as well as also going out and being this maniac who would run 200 Ks around an athletics track.
Thank you, brother.
No worries.
Appreciate that, mate.
And I appreciate you sitting down, and I appreciate your friendship. And I think everyone would want to know, do you reckon you would ever do it again?
Oh yeah,
you would.
100%. But the thing is, like in that moment when my knees are on fire, I had this really strong moment where it's like, remember this, you're never doing this again. Like this is crazy. Like do not do this again. And then a couple of days later, you just forget, like how much pain you were in. But yeah, I don't think 200K is the limit. So we'll see what's next.
Well, it seems to be going up by 100 every year. So
yeah, but, well, like you said before, though, you know, just because you double it, or like 100 to 200 is not twice as far. It's way further.
Yeah.
So I hope, you know, if I overdo 300K, people aren't disappointed that I haven't doubled it. You know, inverted commas.
Yeah.
Because 200 to 400, that extra 500 laps, holy moly! Like, that's crazy to think about.
Animal behaviour. I mean, 200's animal behaviour, but
yeah. Baby steps. We'll see what's next.
Only
anyway.
The future will tell.
Yeah. Thanks again, mate. That was a lot of fun. And I really sincerely appreciate those kind words at the end, mate.
100% I mean it. And I even spoke to people about it on the track when you were in the hurt locker. Like,